Hey, CSEC Panda here. Today I want to show you how to deal with the petty cash book so that you can get full marks on the exam. Alright, so before I actually go into showing you how to answer the questions on the exam, that is how to balance the petty cash book and restore the imprest, I just want to make sure that you actually know what petty cash is. So obviously, as this is taken from the accounting section of the office admin syllabus, it is to do with cash and accounting. So this fund is a separate amount of money that's kept by an office to afford everyday expenses like coffee, some stamps for the office, anything paper, stationery, a mop for the office, anything like that. Small things that we need that would be kind of silly to write a whole check for. We got a couple of terms that are associated with this. The person who is overseeing petty cash and who dispenses it or gives it out to people when they need it is called the petty casher. They're also the person who keeps the records and balances the book at the end of the month. The document that's used for people to request money out of the petty cash fund is called a petty cash voucher, which you see here. It's just a simple document with a place to put the date, the folio number, which is to say what general account in the company petty cash is, what's its number. Then there is a space for putting the amount of money that is requested in dollars and cents, the reason that the money is requested, which is going to go into the details section of the book, and then it's signed by the person who's requesting and signed by the petty casher to authorize the transaction. So it's really a simple document, and people use this to request money from petty cash. So when a voucher is filled out and it's given to the petty casher, what they do is they give the people the cash out of the account, and then they record it in the book. After the whole month of recording whatever transactions were done, that's mostly money going out of the account, there needs to be an accounting process, which is called balancing the book, which is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do now. Alright, so if you're looking at this, you see that this looks kind of complicated. There are a number of columns on it, but I promise you that it's not actually that complex. Like any cash book, it has a debit side and a credit side. The debit side is on the left, the credit side is on the right. In this book, debits means when money comes in, so that's recorded in this slim little column here, cash in. That's the debit side. Then you see there's date and description. These columns are shared by both sides of the book. And then the rest of the stuff towards the right side of the book is the area that we record the credits. That is when money goes out of the fund. So you'll mostly see the money goes out because, after all, that's what petty cash is for. It's for giving money out of the funds to pay for small things, as we mentioned. Alright, so the very first thing that you're going to see on this is a transaction on the debit side. That means money came in. And it's labeled with the date of August the 1st, and the description on it is balance brought forward or balance brought down. Alright, so what that means is that this much money was in. This is the money that was left over that we didn't spend in all of July, that was left over at the end of July, that we're going to bring forward into August to keep using. Now, because this petty cash fund is supposed to always be at a certain amount. That is the amount that we decided we're keeping for petty cash, which is called the imprest. So the amount of money total that's supposed to be in the petty cash fund is the imprest. Right. So as you see here, the next transaction is August the 1st, where there's another debit money coming in, and that is cash received. Now this cash is a cash replenish or a cash refill, you might see it called, to restore the imprest. What you're going to see is that the balance that was brought forward at the end of July adds to the cash that is brought in on the 1st of August, so that together they equal the amount of the imprest that we want, and that's called restoring the imprest. But I'm going to show you how to do that if we work through a whole month of transactions. Alright, so let's just say that these transactions happened for the month. So you see that they all have their date listed. They have the description of what they were. They have the voucher number. The voucher, that is the document, you remember, that was filled out to request the money. They have the total, which is the amount of money that the voucher was for or that the person took out of the petty cash fund, right? Then you see in these description columns over here, there are special columns for each thing. So like for stationery or for beverages or for cleaning expenses or what have you, whatever type of expense it was, we record again in this details column, so the total would be in twice. This is just so that you can glance at your petty cash notations and note that, okay, well, mostly this month we used most of our money on cleaning, or we are spending a lot on stamps from this, or anything that you might want to know as details. They're in there, so it's convenient to see at a glance. Now, what happens is, as the days go by in the month, purchases are made, money is given out, and it's all recorded in this book. And so this brings us to the last day of the month down here, where we have to balance the cash book, and here's how. First, we need to total both sides of the book. So we're going to add up the debit side, the left side, the money that came in. That side is the one we're going to add first. So if we're doing this right, it should really just be the money that was left over at the end of the last month and the money that we used to restore the imprest at the beginning of this month. And the total should be the imprest amount that we decided on. Okay, so that's that for that side of the book. The other side of the book now, we need to total the totals column. So when we total the totals, we come to the total amount of money that we spent this month. We are also going to total individually the description columns over here so that we know the total amount spent on each one of these things. If you add up the total of all of these things in the description columns, you should get the same number as the total of the totals column because it's the same thing that you're adding up. So that's a good way to double check that. So once you've added up both sides of the book, you want to determine how much money is left in the fund. So what you do is you take the total, the debit side, which is our imprest, that's the total money in, and you subtract from it the total of the credit side or the money out, and then the number that you have written below that is how much money is left in the fund. This amount of money that's left in the fund is labeled as the balance carried down, so it's BAL CD. Balance carried down at the end of the month. At the next notation, you would notice that it's the last day of the month, so this month is complete. Then you see we have the first day of the month, two notations on it. The first one is the balance carried down, same amount of money that we're talking about, but it's the balance brought down now at the beginning of the month. So there's that little switch, it's really the same amount of money, but you just want to know that at the end of the month, you carry it down, at the beginning of the month, you bring it down. Alright, so balance brought down, same amount of money that we had left over from last month. Then what you want to do is replace the money that went out of the fund so that the imprest is restored. So what you do is you request from the General Accounting Department a cash refill, which goes in on the first of the month, which is the same amount of money that was spent the last month. So as you see, it just goes in first of the month, cash, cash restored, cash refilled, or simply just cash, the amount that we spent last month. And that is actually it. So if you recall, the steps were you collect all of the vouchers as time is going on. You make notes of everything, including the description column. You, at the end of the month, total the debit side, total the credit side. You subtract the credit side, all the money that went out, from the debit side, all the money that came in. Once you do that, you have the amount of money that we have left. That is the balance carried down at the end of the month. It's also the balance brought down at the beginning of the next month, just under that. Then you have a cash refill of the amount of money that we spent the last month, which is going to be the same number as the total column for the credit side. Okay? So I hope that you understood all of that. If you practice this a couple of times, you will find that it's not that difficult. It's actually something that you do get a lot of marks for on the exam, so it's worth knowing when you go in there, and it comes up a lot. If you need to, you can watch this again, but I think that you basically have everything that you need to be able to do this successfully. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your exam.